All right. So there's a big wedding coming up in less than 100 days.
Less than 100 days.
Between who's it between? Carl and Lindsay of the show Summer House.
Carl Radke.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay Hubbard.
Right.
A long time coming.
Yes and no.
Right. I would. There's a little bit of a triangle, but I don't want to bring Danielle in here too much because there's enough to unpack with Carl and Lindsay to make it interesting, I think.
Sure.
I think we have to start back in 2015.
With Danielle.
With Danielle. And this is about as much as you're really going to experience Danielle. But summer 2015.
Before there was a show.
Before there was a show.
This is real life.
Summer House. Bravo.
Not for cameras.
No one was there. Just a few photos that we've seen.
So who knows if it even happened?
No Instagram photos. Didn't even happen.
Right.
No Bravo footage. Didn't even happen.
No.
So some photos of the two of them dating, that being Carl and Danielle in New York City, living that Manhattan life. Didn't work out.
Just a couple months.
Yeah, that's how it's portrayed.
Yeah. Didn't work out, but they actually formed a really great friendship out of it.
Right, that we don't really see for a while. I don't know when Danielle reappears on the actual franchise show, but I will tell you that Carl and Lindsay they both start out in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Strong. It's the whole premise of the show is, 20-something, 30-something-year-olds that live in Manhattan and have to escape the city and have to have a summer house in the Hamptons.
Right, and they all share it.
Yeah, go wild every weekend. 3-day weekend, kind of.
It's almost like Real World meets the Hamptons.
Jamie, there's a lot of moving of this. How do you feel about that?
Does it bother you?
Well, it's shaking. It's like Jurassic Park when you see the water moving when the the T-Rex is
All right, hold on, let me fix it.
It's a great scene.
It's a great scene, and if they're in the car and I just don't want to break your equipment.
No.
Because it's more expensive than us. Thank you.
Is it moving still?
No.
It's just the table's a little wobbly, right?
But this is way better. Oh,
Yeah.
This is great.
Great. Done.
Thank you, sir.
So they escape the hustle and bustle of the city. They go to the Hamptons every weekend. They're already a group of friends. They're not friends because of the show. They were already friends.
Yes. And also, I love Kyle Cook. Kyle Cook, if you want to be friends with me, we're in. Let's go. Okay? I'm just going to start the whole show off on that
I really
note.
like neon.
Neon?
Yeah.
The color
the
neon?
color.
Well,
And Kyle only wears neon. It's
mullets
awesome.
and neon.
Yeah,
I love
we're
him.
here
If
for
you
it.
want to be on the show, I have witchy products that you can give all your friends. I don't know. But he had an existing friendship group that was pretty tight.
Mm-hmm.
Brought in some extras here and there, I would assume, superficial friends. I think Danielle kind of is one of them. Because she didn't start off.
Yeah, she was just like a friend who wasn't on the show and then kind of started visiting the house.
Right.
As a guest. Actually, it's funny. Just the other day, we were watching some of the old episodes, and they, have a byline with everyone. And Lindsay's, it would say Lindsay, byline publicist, and then with Danielle, it was like Danielle, byline Lindsay's friend.
Right, and you're like, that's her entire identity
Yeah, right,
is Lindsay's friend.
Exactly. Which Lindsay probably really liked.
100%. So we have Carl and Lindsay. The first season, Carl is portrayed as, he's tall, good looking.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
Just whatever you think that is what Carl is.
He is that guy. And the girls.
And a party boy.
Party boy.
Loves
the
a
girls, he's got a little panty dropper, vibe to him. All the girls.
Totally. He's a daddy in the street and a daddy in the sheets.
Yeah, he is going to dominate you. He is going to rock your world for one night only. I think.
Oh yeah, he's not calling or writing after.
No, there's no text message. There's no nothing.
Great teeth.
Great teeth. I mean, he's a good-looking
handsome.
guy.
Yeah.
So all the girls like him. Lindsay is dating his, I would say, first season ever is his good friend, best friend, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. And she is wild.
Yeah.
She's crazy.
She's a party girl.
She's a party girl.
She's in PR in New York, so she knows how to party.
Yeah, she
puts on party.
drinks a good bunch. She likes to let loose.
Yes.
But sometimes, she's like the girl that I honestly can see myself being friends with. And though I would have to say that out of nowhere, I think the anger comes out. Like 1 out of every 6 times you get her drunk, she's going to detonate, right?
Yeah. What does that come from?
I think just latent anger in her chart.
Or like her Aries rising.
Right.
She likes to pop off.
Likes to pop off.
I also have an Aries rising.
And
And I pop off sometimes.
You do. And I never know when it's going to come, but it's coming out.
That's
and it's
the
coming.
fun.
You're right.
It's like a Jack in the Box.
Right. It's
like Russian roulette.
And this pops. So that's Lindsay. So I will say that I haven't seen a lot of chemistry amongst the two of them in the early seasons, but maybe there was a little bit of flirtation here or there, but nothing.
They were just friends.
Just friends.
They're like bros.
Yeah. So
They were also the same age, where some of the cast is not.
yeah, we
is
got
a little
85.
younger,
He's a January 85.
Right.
God, he's still younger than I am.
but older than me.
Shut up. Anyway, she's born in 86. Damn. Sometimes I feel like she's born in like 76.
Oh yeah,
Jeez,
no.
Pete. Her energy is
That's funny. I thought she was 45.
86, man. She's younger than you. Oof, I don't know.
I can't believe it.
Believe it.
Well, when you wear too much makeup,
She's fried her
too
hair.
much work,
Sorry,
when
Lindsay.
you fry your hair, you
Damn,
do take on an
please.
older look.
She's
That's
got
all. It's okay.
I don't want to go for her too hard.
I'm not saying old is bad. We're just saying you're older looking.
Than me. No. She seems like a lot of fun. He seems like a lot of fun. No harm, no foul. But then we fast forward to the summer of 2019, where Carl takes a cab Uber ride with Lindsay to Montauk, I believe. And I guess.
I think that's a different. That's the ride with Danielle. Also, same
Nope.
summer when they go to Montauk.
No.
Because I think they were just going to the summer house.
Were they just going? Well, all I know is there was alone time
Right.
with
In the back seat of a car.
Right, which I'm sure from New York to the Hamptons to Montauk, there's a lot of like back and forth. But I guess it resulted in Carl and Lindsay sleeping naked in a bed together for the first time ever. And in the morning,
As good friends do.
as good friends do, his fingers got cold.
As they do.
Sometimes
in the morning.
too, in the morning. And they were seeking refuge.
He finger banged her.
He looked for
No kissing.
No kissing.
They kept making that a crucial point in the
just
story.
looking to warm
No
his
kissing.
hands.
Yeah.
Which, of course,
It's a warm part of the body.
just a interesting first move for two friends. But I guess he said that he maybe liked her on the cab ride, Uber ride, and then this kind of
they were vibing.
they're vibing.
They were vibing somehow when they got in bed together naked.
Maybe they were kissing.
They had to
I don't.
sleep.
Oh, they weren't kissing, right? So they wasn't. So it was just rolling around.
Right? Just,
What? Just
I don't know what.
yeah.
I
Are
mean,
they
just
wrestling?
Stripped down and got in bed and just passed out. And in the morning they're like, "Oh, well, since we're here." And Lindsay seems like a taker, not a giver. Right?
Oh yeah, she's not a giver.
No.
No. God bless. Sorry again. We're just going hard
You get
for
no
her
judgment
already.
if you're a taker. She's just one of them.
No, she's not loving like that. She's like, "Where's my sandwich?" But so I guess the finger bang happened. She told Kyle. And of course, if you tell Kyle,
Everyone knows.
everyone knows
20 seconds,
immediately.
including everyone who watches the show.
Right. I mean, my mom knew.
This was all. I think it was in the New York Times. It was like
Kyle's like runs. So he tells Amanda, his fiance, and Amanda, again, they follow suit a little bit. They're like the mom and dad of the group, but they're also like the shit stirrers.
they know how to make TV.
Right.
They know how
think
TV works.
they're doing it not.
It's not malicious.
I don't feel like in a malicious way, but they're gonna spill the tea.
Also, if you're in a group of friends, if we're in a group of friends, and two of our friends who are just friends, all of a sudden something happens sexually, and we find out, yeah, of course we're going to talk about
tell
it.
everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
Not in a malicious way, just
listen,
kind of like
if you tell me something that's super serious,
they're just saying the facts. They're not
I
judging.
can keep a secret. But if you're going to tell me you just finger banged somebody without kissing them in a bed,
And you think you have feelings.
I'm going to tell everybody. I mean, just because it's hilarious. I mean, this is like
This
is the joy of life, right? Hey.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't think she was too happy about it, but I don't think she was too upset about it because I think they were going into that summer, 2019. This is pre-COVID. Her being Lindsay and Carl were going to maybe have a summer of loving.
Yeah. Summer loving.
Having a blast.
Right. Why not?
Summer loving happens
It's
so
convenient.
fast.
They're already sharing a house. They're already on a show together. They're already friends.
Right. Now, this is some backlogging that I did, and I made you do it with me too. I put it in my notes app, so because I'm old, I got to look back. So the worst date ever, that was the name of the episode.
So like 2 days into this new budding relationship, they're back in Manhattan.
And
they go on a date on the rooftop.
Lindsay's
of
apartment.
Of her apartment building.
And
they're drinking.
Fireball's out.
Yeah, it's odd. Fireball's like, do
That's
they
their
sponsor
thing.
the show?
They should. I hope they get some kind
I
of
hope they
kickback.
get something. Every shot of everyone is always with a nip or a gallon of Fireball.
Right. I mean,
on a date. They're just
it's
swigging
cute.
Fireball.
I think that she did say something to the effect or that like they need to kind of take the edge off because it's a little awkward because they've always been friends.
Sure. Right. And now you're changing the dynamic.
Right. We're going to try to act like we're romantic partners.
Right.
That's like
a first date is different than just, a first date with someone else.
It's like if we went on a first date.
It'd be excellent.
It'd be so weird. I'd be like, hey, Jake.
But for like many reasons.
Right, for more reasons. I'd be like, hey.
Not work out. But
so he's like, the premise of the date is like, this should work out completely because you should always be in love with your best friend, or that's the optimal.
And Carl's the one who really peddled that.
Yeah, he was the one that said, I like you first. And then she was like, oh, really? And he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
but
he spearheaded
likes
it.
the idea of dating your best friend. Right?
Yes.
Like
that was the notion.
Right. Even though he has commitment issues and all this stuff, but like, and I think maybe goes back actually to the commitment issues because you're already committed in a way, right? You're already friends. You already know the stuff.
Right. They're already talking to each other every day. Yeah.
You know the bad stuff. You know the good stuff. And
Yeah.
you're already committed to being in their life.
Yes.
You know you get along.
But here we're going to get to the nitty gritty very quickly, or so was the editing
Oh,
of
yeah.
the
I mean,
scene.
20 seconds, 2 fireball shots in.
And we're
in
destruction mode.
detonate.
So Carl is like, they start playing a game with the fireball. And he was like, do you want to settle down and have a family in the next year? Lindsay says, yes. I need to know that that's the direction that we're going in.
This is day 2 of their situationship.
Right.
She's already asking for kids and a promise to marry.
Right. Like, it's the intensity as a level 10 always with
Right.
Lindsay, which is not the way I play my
It's like
games.
shit or get off the pot is what she's saying. Like, is that the expression? Like,
yeah,
fish or cut bait is what she's
honestly,
saying.
if we're
even
looking at
day
her
1.
chart, we got a sun in Leo. Loves to be in love, loves to be adored. It's fun loving, likes a good time. But then we got a moon in Scorpio. It's also conjunct her Pluto.
So she's a
Her
little
Mercury is
manipulative.
square her Pluto. She does not. If I say somebody doesn't fuck around, this one does not fuck around.
Yeah, she's straight to the point. She has a biting tongue. She's a little manipulative.
She's got that Aries rising. It's aggressive. It's direct.
Because it's not balanced out by anything good. You know what I mean?
She doesn't have
She doesn't have a lot of earth.
Ooh, she doesn't have the sweetie sweet signs, and we got nothing to round her out. So when you go on a date with Lindsay, it's later in the one of the seasons. Carl's like, I like roller coaster rides, and he's like, I like to be scared shitless. He's like, maybe this is why it might work out with Lindsay, because she is 100%
healthy attitude going into a relationship.
Totally. So, Carl talks about how he has commitment issues. He's like, I want to explore our relationship, our friendship turn into a relationship. Lindsay, just the next sentence is like, then go be single and have fun, in like a very biting tone. And suddenly we have all of a sudden we've gone into the ring, the boxing ring. We got our gloves on.
Like,
The aggressiveness of her tone.
She's not passive aggressive. She's just aggressive. She is outwardly aggressive.
So she's like, let's fight. And he was like, well, now I'm on the defensive.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. And
I mean, she's like, that's her personality naturally in any way. Now we're adding fireball shots, which is not gonna, dampen her mute her personality.
No,
it's only going to exaggerate these aspects.
Any semblance of control that she has over some of her rougher edges is gone.
Out the window.
Out the window.
It went off the building.
Then he was like, well, I'm having fun with you. I'm just scared of relationships because of my family. My parents divorced. And she's like, well, then just don't fuck it up.
This is day 2 of
their first
situationship.
Date. 20 minutes into the date, she's like, don't fuck it up.
She, by the way, since they're already friends, she already knows this.
Right, that he's a little touch and go.
Yeah, she knows he has commitment issues. They're not just friends. They are castmates on a show for many years now, where his whole character is just sleeping around and not committing.
And she's like,
to
well,
anyone.
don't fuck it up. He's like, well, that's literally what I do every week of every year.
And he's actually kind of pouring his heart out.
Right,
and
he's
saying,
like, I'm scared.
afraid of this. I don't want to fuck it up.
But I might, because classically, historically,
and she's
I
like,
have
just don't do it.
So then she calls bullshit on blaming his parents' divorce for his commitment issues. And then he says...
Which is bullshit to call bullshit. It's like...
Yeah, no... We're not fixing the problem in that moment. Right. So she's like, don't make excuses. And he's like, I'm not making an excuse. And it just implodes. And then
we already thought it imploded.
Right.
It hadn't.
So this is a classic interaction between, I would say, their charts and Lindsay in general. She's the more dominant partner. She's probably the most dominant partner. She'll never be able to date someone who is more dominant than her.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You can just tell that, honestly, just by looking at her.
Right. She's the alpha in any relationship, so she's going to have to date somebody who is a little bit more passive. It doesn't mean that they're just more easygoing. She needs to find somebody who is easygoing. Now, Carl, maybe he is now that he's not drinking. It's yet to be really seen if he can take...
He seems to calm her down and
her intensity. Yeah.
In a good way. I mean, like...
But when we're looking at the triangulation, this is what Carl said. He said, things with Lindsay are a roller coaster. There are highs and there are lows that are really, really low, but I love riding fast rides and being scared shitless.
It's an adrenaline thing.
It's a what?
An adrenaline thing.
Yeah, he has a moon in Aries.
Right.
Likes to take a risk, likes to...
Your stomach flips.
Right. She's crazy. You like the crazy girl.
Well, we were talking about earlier. It's addiction.
Jamie has a moon in Aries. He likes crazy girls too.
Are you a roller coaster that he's riding?
Gotta ask Jamie.
Wait, it's a moon in Aries. It means you like crazy girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Well, that actually does check out, to be honest.
Jamie, can you add?
Outside of Jess, that actually does check out.
It does. I know I'm probably the least crazy, but or I can't speak. I can't speak for Jamie. That's on him. Anyway, I will say
Both my parents have Aries moons.
they do. Oh my God. You know, it's funny. My grandma had an Aries moon. She was married to an Aries. It was a very Aryan household. My mom has the
Aryan in a different.
right. Sorry. Aries. It's like, and my mom's the product of my mom has that energy too. She has a Venus in Aries, and our parents were very Aries. It's very, her sister is an Aries. Like, it's very like, they're a lot like Lindsay. It's like, say whatever is going on, say it, and it's like, say it, like what's like, set and spray it, say it and spray it, and you're done. I don't know. It's just like
say it, forget it, write it, regret it.
That's maybe more like it was, but it's just it's out, and when it's out,
medley.
then you can think about it. Was Dorinda?
Yeah.
Dorinda has is she?
I don't know, but she said that.
Right. I think she has some Aries in her chart
But
too.
yeah, sure. Get it all out.
Yep.
I am a little bit like that to a point where I just want to know what's up. And
Right, cut the
If I have
bullshit.
a problem, right? Exactly. I'm bullshit intolerant, and so let's just get to it, right? Like, why waste time getting to it? Because we're gonna get to it.
Right.
So let's just get to it,
Right.
fix it,
Yeah, we can
and
keep,
move on.
We can keep like
and then have a
putting on
good
the
night.
rug,
right? And have a good night.
under the rug, or we can just
Then you're gonna have a lumpy rug. It's gonna be bad for your back. It's gonna be bad for your feet.
I will say the opposite view of that is that a lot of Aries, but there's also a lot of water signs too, is like, it's just emotions, and your emotions ebb and flow every day. One day I'll wake up, I think it's going to be a great day. But then an hour later,
then you
I'm
go to
in a
work.
funk. Yeah, it's
Right.
like, yeah, and my emotions, I don't even know what's going on, but I can't dictate my day on my emotions, so I try all day to try to regulate. If we're talking about Aries, there is a lack of regulation, which is totally fine
Right.
because also you always know where you stand. You're never going to be like, hey.
That's what I like about it, is knowing. I like knowing where I stand with people. I think most people know where they stand with me. Mm-hmm. But I see
It
your
might
point.
be dictated on just emotion.
Right. Oh, for sure that is. But like
Yeah.
to your point, I don't go throughout my day relying on my emotion to dictate my day. Because I have stuff to do. Got to do it. I'm still a Virgo Capricorn
Boop, boop.
who's like a
Right.
little bit more pragmatic and
Then-
less emotion fueled.
Right. And I would say with Lindsay, she's got a water sign moon. She's got the most
Also
dramatic,
emotion, fueled,
dramatic
led.
sun sign you can have,
Leo,
and the most
which is a fire sign, like Aries.
pop off the charts rising that you can have. She is great for television.
Yeah, of course. Like we were saying just the other day, or the other
Podcast.
episode. What makes a good reality star?
Water signs and fire signs.
Right. She is it.
Right.
She has all of it.
Ding, 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 ding.
And she does make for good TV to a point. Because after a little while, I get tired of watching her just slam doors for no reason. And you're like, she's just so ridiculous.
Right. You're like,
And she's like screaming at her boyfriend because he didn't make her a
Sandwich.
sandwich at like 3 a.m.
I'm like, if this is how she is in front of cameras, I was like, how is she not in front of cameras? Which lends me to believe that there's more going on under the surface with her and Carl. And when I look at their charts,
Does that also say it?
yeah, I don't want to be a negatron.
Facts are facts.
Facts are
Whether
facts.
they're negative or positive, they are facts.
So we can get into some like nitty gritty here because I got a lot of notes. I got notes. Carl is a sun in Aquarius. He has a moon in Aries. We do not know his time of birth. People are putting him at a rising in Taurus. But he is January 27th, 1985. Lindsay is his opposite sign. She's a sun in Leo. She is a moon in Scorpio. And we do have a time of birth. She is a rising in Aries. She is August 11th, 1986. So when we get a relationship of opposites, we've talked about this before.
Right.
With
Aquarius and Leo are the opposites.
Are opposite signs. What a lot of people think of when they think of the two opposite signs is, I know it's kind of it's like a generalization. It's not always true, but like they're magnets. It's like opposites attract, which can be really good for sex too. It's like it's like a yin and a yang. That's debatable if that's actually true, but
well, in like heterosexual relationships or with heterosexual people.
Yeah, boy and girls.
Generally,
girls and boys.
If you have the opposite sign with the opposite sex, that's like your soulmate. But if you have the opposite sign with the same sex, that's like your enemy.
Right. So, like we've spoken about before, I'm a Virgo sun, and my natural enemy is a sun in Pisces.
A female Pisces.
Correct.
But a male Pisces
might rock my world.
Right.
Debatable. But I do think what is also strange about that, the seventh house is your ultimate partner, but it's also the house of open enemies, that you literally know that
like relationships. So it's you have your good relationships and your bad ones.
Right. So it's like that is your open enemy. You know that person doesn't like you. Whereas your hidden enemies is your 12th house. And those are people that you might think are your friends, but they're not your friends. Or you find out later that like.
Right. What's crazy for me is my opposite is my 12th house.
I know. You're really fucked. What a crazy ride.
Which means
it's blurred lines at best.
For me and Pisces, people who are Pisces.
Right. So like I can't think of all we were supposed to look at this, but I know I have at least one great example of divorces of people. So you marry your opposite sign and things are going great. It's going great always if you're always having sex though too. Or you're always involved in a project and you're doing something, you're actively doing something, actively having sex, actively.
Right. There's some action. There needs to be action.
You have to be moving around because if you're not, you're just you're polar opposites, then you're just like walking away from each other, really. Mm-hmm. Nothing's keeping you together. A family can keep you together, kids, but it's really more like, I would say projects a lot. Yeah, and making the family, building the family. Then, if you decide to divorce, these are the most acrimonious divorces that you will find. The one that always comes to mind, it's really pertinent now, is Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. So we have Brad as
and they were like magnets.
Magnets.
They couldn't help it.
Couldn't help it. Shouldn't be doing it. Did it. We're always building companies like the Rosé company, the Miraval, Chateau Miraval,
always
whatever it was.
Always buying a kid from another
Always buying a
country.
kid. Yeah. And as soon as that was no longer fun and exciting, it just started pulling apart, and we get Brad, the Sagittarius, we get Angelina, the Gemini, going to battle. Because this is open enemy territory, and the divorce has been going on forever.
They're not even divorced yet.
And this is classic. So for Carl and Lindsay, this is...
So good luck, Carl and Lindsay.
Damn, I hope
just keep having sex.
Keep having sex or keep having babies or doing projects or making money. But when you stop, you might be in a lot of trouble. So we have... Also, a lot of people think these are unlikely pairs.
Carl and Lindsay.
Opposite signs.
Oh.
It's a yin and a yang. So sometimes people are already like, you guys
Two halves of the same whole, though.
They're like, you guys don't belong.
Yeah.
But they kind of complete each other. Like, one's better at this, one's better at that.
It's supposed to learn from your opposite sign. Actually.
Right. So you're
'Cause
not
they
very
have what you don't have,
complimentary.
and
Yeah. They're
yeah,
not
vice
as
versa.
complimentary as you think, but they're, they're bringing something to the table. When I get a little deeper into their chart, I'm starting to see some things that I don't like.
Like what?
So we have a Sun square Pluto. We have a Sun square Saturn. I gotta tell you, I haven't been in a relationship that has either.
Sun square Pluto. Sun square Saturn.
Yep.
So Pluto is
Lindsay's a Pluto in this situation.
okay. Carl's the sun.
Yep.
So his sun does not get along with her Pluto.
Yep.
And what does that mean generally? Like Pluto, if there's a Pluto aspect in your chart, like what are we even like talking about?
So when we're talking about Pluto, a Pluto square is what any classic astrologer is going to look at your chart and they're going to look for all the squares and all the oppositions. Doesn't mean you shouldn't have them. You should probably have some of them just to keep things a little interesting. Yeah. But there's some of them that are classic red flags.
And this is one.
Yes. And we have two. I think that you can get away more with Sun square Saturn because that brings up a daddy vibe or a parental vibe when someone's just telling you what to do. Or they're kind of like, don't wear that. That's not okay. I wouldn't do that. Don't start that business.
And so is the sun doing that or is the Saturn doing
Saturn's doing that.
Okay, so Lindsay's the Saturn. No.
And this is
Carl's
the Saturn.
Right.
So we got to switch off. Right. Yeah. Got a T-square there. So
Carl's telling Lindsay. So that's funny. So Carl's telling Lindsay, or maybe parenting Lindsay, right?
No more drinking.
Right.
I'd say.
He doesn't drink, so she's not drinking. Maybe telling her what to wear on appearances. Like, we don't know. But like,
right.
But what's funny is, but they also have the the Sun square Pluto.
Which is more interesting to me.
Right. Which is where she's the Pluto. And this aspect is about the control.
The control. Complete
and so she's supposed to have control in that aspect, but he has control in the other aspect.
Right. He's kind of putting out her. So your sun is like your ego, your light, like what you bring to the relationship. And if you're in a relationship where it's trining another person's sun or trining their moon, like you come together and it's light.
Harmonious.
It's harmonious. You like to do things together. You like to build things together. It's happy, happy, happy. When these two come together, all of a sudden I would say there's stops right away. He's like, no, don't do that. Or no, I don't like that. Or no, you should stop that.
Yeah.
And then she is more covert ops. I'd be like manipulative.
And she's naturally like that anyway because she has a Scorpio moon.
She's very.
And what sign rules Pluto?
Scorpio.
Right.
Yeah, Pluto rules Scorpio.
Right.
So she's very Plutonic. She has a moon in Scorpio. Her moon is conjunct her Pluto in her chart. It's like a double dose of Pluto. Then her Mercury is squaring her Pluto.
Which is funny. So like PR is actually probably a good profession for her.
Yeah, she's very controlled. She's very
manipulative. Very like she controls the narrative. She's withholding what she doesn't want out there. Those are the makings of a good PR person.
I can see her energy being. I know lots of Pluto men and women, and she's classic Pluto woman in a way that like you're scared of her. You don't know why. You're scared that she's going to act crazy. So then you're walking around on eggshells because she screams, she yells.
She also has that look, not to be totally, surface here, but like you look at her and you just
yeah, you don't want to
make her
tip the
mad.
scale.
You already know you don't want to make her mad.
Right. So you find yourself just kind of going around her. Mm-hmm. So she wants to know the truth because she's very Scorpio-esque, but I don't know if she can always. Well, she can handle the truth, but her reactions say otherwise. She has a very explosive reaction.
Yeah.
Where other people, you tell them something they don't want to hear, they can be emotional, they can be displeased, they can be disenchanted, they can walk away, whatever. She is going to detonate.
Fireworks.
It's fireworks. And a lot of people don't want to deal with that, especially in your adulthood. You have a job, you have kids, you have responsibilities, you have other shit going on. You don't really want to deal with a Lindsay meltdown every day. I would keep her at arm's length. I'm sorry, but I would, just in that regard, because I hate conflict. That's on me. So her and I, we're not going to work. I'm a lot more like Danielle, to tell you the truth.
And I'm very similar to Lindsay.
It's true.
We would get along famously.
You guys would just torch the place, and I would be like, I gotta take a nap. I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, see you losers later.
You'd be bailing us out of jail, but we'd be in jail together.
It's true, but I totally bail. I'm like, I love you guys. It's like, I know they didn't mean it.
No, we didn't. Just in the moment, maybe we did.
Right, I was like, well, they're great people. But so I can see Carl's hesitation with Lindsay in their first go around. So the first go around of the relationship takes us back to 2019.
But what is
the
funny,
finger bang.
But what is funny is she did come out the gate looking crazy, but she did come out the gate saying who she was.
Right.
This is who I am. I'm crazy.
Love it or list it.
Correct.
Which I also...
On day 2, if you're not going to marry me, get off the ride. You know, if you don't want to have a baby with me, get off the ride. So he knows what he's getting because she's very, and maybe that's the Aries,
yes,
the positive part of the Aries.
Also
thing.
Scorpio
you
too.
You know what you're getting. Because
yeah, and also Leo people.
She's not hyped.
Leo people are not game players. Also,
right.
That's like there's no game to Lindsay at all.
No,
I would think that maybe the games more are later, but she reads who she is. When you meet her, that is who you're like.
Which is funny. Which is actually
zero bullshit. But if you start messing with her a little bit, I'm sure she changes the dial a little bit.
Right.
But,
I mean, it is funny though. It's like, on one hand, she presents as who she is.
Right.
But on the other hand, she's very manipulative and evasive.
Right. And I think that comes later.
Both these things doesn't make a great combo though. The fire and the evasiveness and the...
Also, I got to tell you, there's a lot of signs that could deal with her very,
for sure,
much easier than I think maybe Carl can. Her fiery aspects can be put out by her dating a Cancer guy. Be like, baby, relax. Like,
which I was like, Carl has kind of taken on that role.
I don't know if he can maintain it though.
Right, just because he's currently he had a little, growing up to do, and in that he stopped drinking.
Yes.
Right, and so since he stopped drinking, he has kind of taken on that role. I don't think he says he's an alcoholic. I don't think maybe he's not an alcoholic, and so which means he might be drinking again one day, and maybe that sheen wears off. Right,
because he was. If you see him, the former seasons that I was just watching back, he gives zero fucks. He's very Aries moon, Aquarius, says what's on. He was so fun. He's also zero bullshit too.
Right.
So they're both zero bullshit.
They're also New Yorkers, so already they're zero bullshit.
Yeah, he's just like, you don't like it?
Love it or list it.
Love it or list it.
Get off
She's
the ride.
like, love it or list it too.
And at first, they both want to list it.
And maybe their initial reaction was the right
Generally,
reaction.
your first reaction. What didn't they say on the SATs, right? Your first gut answer is the correct answer.
And I would say their first is true because Lindsay needs someone to coddle her. But I mean, people's threshold for pain is higher than others. So who knows how long they'll be together? I can't make a call on that.
Yeah.
Right. But what I can say is that
It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to watch for us.
Especially after looking at their chart. Anyway, but I will say that Lindsay can be detonated by a water sign.
Sure.
Being like, hey.
And which is funny. So her best friend
talk,
on the show.
We gotta talk in like, what is that? SMR?
Yes. We're going to talk really softly.
We're going to talk to Lindsay. Hey, Lindsay.
And it's going to be really good.
Baby, I love you. I want you to just
what is
be
interesting,
okay.
her best friend on the show is Danielle, and her rising is Pisces.
That's what they're be like, let's just relax. It's okay.
Right.
I love you. I respect you. I respect your feelings. I'm giving them space. And all of a sudden, Lindsay will probably she'll put her weapons down. But if you're going to go to battle with her, if we got some fire, we got some air, we got some more fire, we're all going to go into the ring together and someone's going to get injured, most likely.
It's never Lindsay.
Well, it's never, no, she'll be like blood,
she's the
blood,
gladiator.
and just like,
yeah, she's Piggy in Lord of the Flies. Or no, she's not Piggy in Lord of the Flies. She's Carl's gonna be Piggy.
Right.
But
she is gonna be last man standing. So it's interesting to see that interaction. If you really want to see opposite signs like attract, detract, watch that season from 2019. It aired in 2020 of Carl and Lindsay magnetizing together, coming together, and just as quickly done.
Well, what's so funny is they actually articulated the opposites, that they were opposites like so clearly. When he said, I have a fear of commitment, and she says, my only fear is people with commitment issues.
Right.
Those are opposites.
Those are opposites.
You're opposites.
Right. And all Aquarians, Sun Aquarius is like the friend. They always want to be friends first. They want to be friends maybe always. They don't really like labels. They're progressive. They're like, they're out of the box. That's
my mom. Also, my mom is Carl. Aquarius with an Aries moon. Wow.
So he doesn't like that. I don't know how Becky felt, but Becky's a
wouldn't-
little bit of a renegade,
But
though.
she would not like Lindsay. I'll tell you that right now.
No.
No.
True.
No, because my mom's the boss.
Right. And Carl was the boss, but he was vulnerable after coming out of recovery. And I think...
And during the pandemic, which is a hard time, I would imagine, to go through recovery or to stop drinking.
Right. And we have Lindsay that's like, I need a baby.
Well, it's funny. It's, like a very typical rom-com theme is, two best friends make a pact. If you're not married by 40, let's get married and have a kid, right?
And
so maybe she's kind of really thinking that. I love Carl as a friend. We obviously get along. We party well. We, whatever.
Right.
I'll have a kid with him.
What a disaster. That's only my opinion based on their synastry. We got Moon square the Sun. We got Moon conjunct Pluto. Venus square Neptune. Mercury square the Moon. Mercury square Pluto. Mercury opposite Mercury. So even their Mercuries are in opposite signs. It is
which means they have problems communicating, or they communicate very differently.
Jamie just opened a beer.
It sounded like there was a drive-by shooting.
He's like, Mercury opposite Mercury.
You heard it, but it's muted.
Okay.
That's actually even better. Not only we heard it.
Their Mercuries are in opposite signs. I find, you can be in the best sexual relationship any day of the week. You guys can just roll around and just bang it out, bang, 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 wild times, it doesn't mean that then during the day you're going to walk around and want to talk to each other. Or when you start talking to each other, like, oh, I hate that person's opinions. This is garbage.
Don't call, don't write. Yeah, like I'll see you again tonight.
Right, I'd rather you not speak.
Right,
Just get back down on the bed. Be quiet.
Right.
So, like, if you're going to actually be dating this or integrating your life with this person, you guys have to, like, be able to communicate, even if you have...
But it's weird that they're opposite communicators because they are such good friends. And so they're both going into this thinking, well, we know how to chill. We know how to not have sex. We know how to just hang out and have fun.
hang out, yeah. And that's what they should continue doing.
Right.
I will only say this because her Mercury's in Cancer. Oh, God. Carl, peace be with you, as we say in the Catholic Church.
In Capricorn?
His is in Capricorn.
A far superior sign.
According to us. So when she speaks, it's completely emotionally driven. It is nonsense, but that's okay. But sometimes I have to speak nonsense. Sometimes I'm like crying. I'm on my period. I don't even know what I'm saying. It's garbage. It's coming out of my mouth. That's how I feel like if you have Mercury in Cancer.
Just all the time. This is like how you communicate. Like you only do that if you're like having a meltdown, but like that's like
I'm gonna get in so much trouble. I'm sorry, guys. I feel like it's just like it's a stream of consciousness.
Do we know anyone with Mercury in Cancer?
No.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't be able to communicate with them.
No.
But it's funny. So like they're opposite sun signs and opposite
Mercury's,
and they're good friends. I have a very good friend who I'm opposite sun signs with and opposite Mercury's.
How does that work?
And honestly, we're very close, but we have our only issues really are with communication.
You're speaking two
just different
languages.
Yeah.
You would almost need like
I say up, he thinks I said down.
Right.
Like,
it's literally that way, though.
And vice versa. He says up, I think he says down.
Right. He's like, what does he mean?
It's not just,
well, what
it's
do
not
you
him.
mean? Like,
Right.
there's just so... And
we're constantly explaining.
Over-explaining.
Which is exhausting.
Which you don't want to... You don't want to spend a lot of your time with... Also, if you're aware of this, you can navigate it. Right. But if you're unaware of it, you don't want to spend a lot of your time being like, this is what I meant by, can you please put that dish away? like, oh, you want me to put the dish away? I never put any dishes away. You know, it's like there is a weird... It's opposite ends of the spectrum, and it's hard to meet in the middle. So often someone just takes it on this turn, somebody takes it on this turn. But we're not, unless we make an effort to understand that we're agreeing to disagree, or
which is
that
also
very
totally fine.
God bless. Agreeing to disagree in relationships is my favorite. It's probably
the best mantra, most healthy mantra of a relationship. It's okay to disagree.
Literally, if I think about this is a huge thing that I've and a lot of like psychology, like websites and books and blogs. It's very present now, I guess, that a lot of people have mistakenly thought that compatibility is just that person agrees or thinks the way I think. That's not compatibility. You just want someone to mirror you. Well, if you want someone to mirror you, you can just look in the mirror all day long and just talk to yourself and listen to how great you think you are.
Honestly, it's so funny. You and I were truly just having this conversation a couple of hours ago. We were talking about political beliefs and like how you can be passionate about them or not passionate about them. I happen to be very passionate about my political beliefs, but I don't care what yours are.
No.
And
you should.
I don't want to just surround myself with people who believe the same thing I believe in.
And it's like the echo chamber. The echo chamber.
So we're at a dinner party and we're all just agreeing.
Right.
I think this. I also think this. I also.
Oh my God, you're
that.
so smart.
But
no, you're
I
so smart.
Think that.
Oh my God, I'm so great.
That's
no, you're so great.
Jerk.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And like circle jerks are fun sometimes.
I mean, I also love them too. Like nobody loves to like be built up more than the next person. Right. But like, listen.
And you also don't want to be, you don't want every conversation to be antagonistic.
Right.
Like the opposite of that. But
we're all supposed to be learning from one another.
Right.
Compatibility is not exact same beliefs. Compatibility is just
respect, like
listening,
yeah,
and receiving.
it's like you just get along. You just
Listening and receiving and be like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from.
And I can get along with many different types of people. They don't all have to be white,
I agree.
Jewish, and gay.
Right, because
and liberal.
I
can get along with other people.
Well, I already know how you feel. You probably already know how I feel. Like, are we just...
And what does that have to do with what do you want for lunch today?
Right. Which I would say between Lindsay and Carl, the day-to-day conversation is much more difficult than your average couple.
Because their Mercuries are opposite?
And the sun square Pluto, the sun square Saturn.
Oh, like all of it combined.
All of it. Okay. Damn, they're... but... Okay, so why does this happen? When two people are not very compatible, how do they get entangled? And they get entangled because they're going through certain transits. So what is a transit? So a transit, the best way to explain it is that the day that you were born, there's a... it's almost like a photograph of the sky.
The sky is fixed on the exact second that you were born.
That is you.
One planet is in one spot. It's always in that spot.
All the planets, all the asteroids, all the stars, the fixed stars. You are the moment in time of the sky. That lean into it. That's the idea. And then as soon as you're born, all the planets continue to move. They're moving.
Transit is movement.
It's movement. And as soon as they start moving, then they're now interacting with that snapshot of the sky that you embody.
So the planets that are moving are always relating to how the planets were
original snapshot.
In that snapshot.
Yep. Got it. So things are going well. I think the most relatable or understandable or maybe most known is, I would say, your Saturn return. Oh. So the day that you were born, Saturn was in a sign. It's going to take about 28 years, give or take a year or so, for Saturn to get back into the sign it was when you were born.
And they say that's when you are a fully formed human.
You are finally an adult. Which
kind of anatomically and medically kind of coincides.
It's true.
When you're 26-ish, chemically, biologically, you're an adult. Yep.
So this is like what is the thing, Jamie? It's like the 27 Club.
Oh, and a lot of famous rock stars died when they were 27.
Yep, they all died during their Saturn return. It's
Janis Morissette.
It's the first time you're really put through the.
I don't know what I just said. Janis Joplin.
You're really put through the gauntlet for the first time.
Yeah.
I remember it distinctly. My Saturn return sucked.
28? Here's 28. I was fine. I was fine after. I was not fine after, but I was fine during.
I'd have to look exactly at your chart, but
27, 28, 29? Great.
When Saturn was in Scorpio, late Scorpio. God, you're late Scorpio because I'm early Scorpio. The point is, where's Scorpio in your chart though? We'd have to look. Yeah. So this was late though.
So when I was 28, how are my relationships?
What year were you 28 though? I know, but I have to do this math.
What?
I have to do this math. I have to do the math. So what is it?
2013. I had a great year, 2013.
Hold on. Okay, so 2011.
2015.
Oh, so that is it. So we're talking 2012 to 2015.
Okay. Yeah, 2015 was not good.
Careful about kicking that table, Jake.
Oh, sorry. I keep kicking the table.
Okay. So, yeah. So your Saturn return was in your 7th house, 2014, 2015.
Every relationship imploded in 2015.
Okay, well, there we go. So, because you're very late Saturn. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. So that was your first taste of what, well, basically the way a lot of people believe to be your Saturn return is the things that can no longer exist in your teens and 20s cannot be brought along into your 30s.
You can't pull the same shit anymore. You can't
cannot
get away with the same shit.
It happened exactly to me, too. It happened in my 11th house. I moved here to Maine. Nobody liked me anymore. All my friends in my 11th house. No one called. No one wrote. It's okay. Because I wasn't calling and writing either, because I was in this shame spiral of like, what did I do? What has happened to me? I had a great career. I had a great life in Chicago, and I moved here. And I buried myself, and nobody was seeking to help me, but I had to like own up to the fact that these are the decisions that I made, you know. I ostracized myself, I isolated myself, and now this is what I've done. It was a growing moment. It's okay. Like for you, there's probably some relationships maybe that shouldn't be carried over. You learn some lessons, blah, blah, blah. These are the transits that happen. A lot of people go to see an astrologer because they're like, tell me about my transits. They want to know what's going on. When I do my readings, everyone's like, my life is shit. Well, your life is not shit. It's probably shit in one house. For 2.5 years, that is where you're experiencing the shit. And when that 2.5 year period is over, it moves to a next house, and that's what it's clearly identifiable. It's even a way, if we don't know your rising, it's very easy to find someone's rising sign because you look at their life and their transits in like the 7th house, and you can kind of see where they're having trouble. It's very clear to identify Saturn.
So where are you having trouble right now?
I'm having it in my 4th house.
Of?
Family. I'm having a lot of problems with my mom.
Where am I having it? Oh, well.
You're in the 12th house. You're having a lot of problems at home. Sickness and family. Jamie's having his shared money house. Ooh. Does that ring true to Jamie?
I'd have to think about that.
He's getting hosed.
Is he thinking?
No, he's like, ooh. Anyway, moving along. It's only a 2.5 year period where you're not going to get away with anything.
Hope.
There's always hope.
Yep, right.
But that 2.5 year period, you're getting thrown down the gauntlet, and there's no shortcuts. You're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to go through obstacles. So
you're saying you're always going through something bad? It just only happens.
Yeah.
That bad thing only will happen specifically for 2.5 years.
Correct. I think that's freeing.
Yeah, no, it is.
Don't you think? Because sometimes I was like, oh, my entire life is shit. I was like, actually, it's not. I was like, there's just very one specific, like your money's okay, your career's okay.
Right.
I mean, but I was like, my family life right now, I'm having a lot of serious problems in my family life. And I cannot escape them. They're every day when I wake up, and I'm like almost laughing about it's.
Right.
And like you too.
Yeah, no.
The 12th house for a year, like this is like I'm like
insane.
living in a movie.
I was trying to recount. So like I've also been going through some family medical stuff, and
which is the 12th house.
Right, and so I was trying to recant it all to someone the other day.
You can't.
And I just started laughing.
It sounds like it sounds like a movie.
It
your
sounds
life.
like I'm lying. Like I know that it sounds like if someone were to tell me what I'm telling them, I'd be like, "Well, I am bullshit intolerant, so get out of my face." Like none of this could be real.
No,
and it is. It's crazy.
Same with Jamie. I feel like the 8th house with him, he's like everything is coming down all at once, and
in that one specific area.
Yeah.
Not all at once. Like, so are you saying?
Yes.
Your business won't fail, and you won't get a divorce, and your parent won't die all in the same year?
Probably not. No. Okay.
I mean, that obviously doesn't account for accidents.
Wait, yeah. Also, it's interesting. Saturn in the first house is opposite Saturn in the 7th house. So when you are talking about a polarity of your first house, your identity, you're also talking about your marriage. So when you're having a bad time in your marriage, you're walking a line of like, who am I as a person? Who am I as a partner?
Right.
And those two, they might both need to be detonated.
Totally.
So same with your, it happens a lot with your career and your family. I'm spending too much time at my job. I'm not doing enough with my family, or vice versa. My family is dragging me down. I can never get to work, get shit done. Both might need to be detonated or recalibrated. Yours right now, 12th house, 6th house, I am giving my entire life to my family and helping them. My self-care is being obliterated. Mm-hmm. And it's like, with my... Jamie's like, make it funnier.
He's like, you guys aren't fun yet.
Oh, no. We're disappointing the producer.
Like, oh, and only I got it. So I guess I'm just not fun.
Oh, my God.
I'm not in the frame.
What?
Well,
Oh,
I mean, someone
wait.
sees it,
Bring the White Claw. Oh, my God. We're not...
How's your sex life, Jess?
Like,
I actually think that we're helping.
It's very educational what we're talking
educational
about. Is it
today.
more of a PSA episode?
Oh my God. Jamie hates us today because we're talking about titties last time and now we're talking about.
I don't know. Well, we can talk about what we were talking about dinner. Which sign has the...
No. No.
What, at dinner?
No. Okay.
What do you say?
I don't know. He's peeing, so we got the floor again. We can talk.
We can say anything we want now.
Right. So we can go back to the sad shack. Sad sack.
So even though you and I have fire in our charts, we have mostly Earth and like Virgo, Capricorn.
Yeah.
So we can deal with conversations and episodes like this. We don't need to be.
Well, I'm going to tell you, everybody that comes to me,
at the top of our lungs.
everyone that comes to me for a reading they're in a crisis mode.
And
They're going through a bad transit for Saturn, or a bad transit with Uranus, or a bad transit with Pluto.
They also want you to tell them what will happen, which you can't do.
I cannot, but I can
course not,
tell
but
you
I
what
think
the climate is.
But that's the misconception. That's like kind of the bastardization, I think, of astrology. Is like the daily horoscopes in the newspaper. They're going to tell you what's going to happen that day.
I'm not a psychic.
You're not a fortune cookie.
No.
You're not. Like,
Oh my God, can we please get a t-shirt that says I'm not a fortune cookie?
But it's true.
That is so cute. I'm not a fortune cookie.
No.
I'm not a crystal ball. I do not know. I just do know how to read like mathematics on the chart. Okay, which is probably good for a Capricorn moon. Like I can see like patterns in there, but I can only...
We like analytics.
I like analytics. Like it literally generates a chart. It's mathematics. I can tell you how I'm a forecaster. I'm a meteorologist. Blah, 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 just.
Chief meteorologist, Todd Guttner.
Oh my God, Todd Guttner. He's like, I'll never be on this show. He's like...
Chief meteorologist.
Also, he has a cat named Aries because he's an Aries.
He's very good looking.
We'll talk to him later.
At
Rivalries.
At Rivalries with
Todd.
his wife.
Oh, I mean, you're married. I mean, we like Todd. I'm
we just
winking
wanna
you.
hang with you.
I'm winking you to be in the podcast, not
Yeah.
to be anything.
Tell us
more.
the weather.
And bring their cat too. I don't care. Aries, bring him along.
I wonder if the cat takes on the persona of an Aries, which is funny because my dog Leo was a Leo.
That's so
And
cute.
he was a Leo. He had like a beautiful
Jared and
mane
Jess's
of hair.
Leo's a
He was
Leo.
golden, like
Oh, angel boy. Leo passed, R.I.P. last week. That's why we didn't have a podcast. We're not going to talk about it any further, but pet deaths are a fucking death, which is also Saturn in your death house. So, I mean, I'm dealing with it a little bit with my dog.
your sweet angel.
My
of a
sweet
dog,
angel.
Otis.
He
A
is.
Pisces.
God, he's a
For
Pisces.
anyone wondering.
He's a Pisces. I have 2 Pisces
I
babies.
think one of your dogs has the exact same birthday as one of my friends.
God, I know. I love a Pisces dog.
Funny. Opposite sign.
100%. I read, though, that if
They're the most loving dogs, probably.
From the Farmer's Almanac, to have livestock or animals in the home born in March. Pisces. Because they're the most good-natured, sweet.
Aries.
Well, not, because they're the sweetest, good-natured animals.
I would just, okay.
Which I do. I have both. My dogs are kind of like cats.
You want livestock born in the spring, because wouldn't you want them for the spring?
I don't know.
Like to work in the spring?
I don't know about the spring. I don't know.
I want them working in the spring.
Look at you. Look at you. I don't know about this. Anyway, can we go back to Lindsay and Carl? We're on livestock.
Things have not gotten more exciting.
Jamie's like, I hate this podcast. I gotta tell you that I'm looking at Carl. So we were talking about transits. That's where we got into the Saturn return. What are transits? What's happening to people? So not all transits are bad. So I was talking about the most infamously bad transit, or like
return.
Yeah, the Saturn return, the
What's a good
27
one?
club. The ones that you're always looking for, that I have been looking for since I've been young. Jamie, this also involves you. The marriage transit.
Which
is Pluto sextile or trine Venus. It's love and power come together, and marriage.
Are you going through that right now?
I'm going to soon.
Oh.
Jamie's like, whatever.
He's like, God damn it.
Anyway. But there's...
Does your partner also have to be going through it?
No. But there's Pluto, like when you're empowered transits, Pluto trining or sextiling your Mars, your Venus, your Moon. These are all powerful, transformative transits. Uranus, sextiling or trining your Moon, your Venus, your Mars. These are great transits. Neptune, a little bit more low-key, but some of the most, I would say the most romantic transit is Venus trining your, Neptune trining your Venus, trining your Moon.
It's like dreamy.
Dreamy. Oh, you're just loving life. It's a storybook. So interesting for me to look at Carl.
Is he going through this?
God damn, he is living the best transit life between 2020 to 2025. His Pluto is sextiling his Venus. It's sextiling his Mars. Neptune is conjuncting his Venus. It's conjuncting his Mars because he has a Moon and Venus conjunction, in Pisces. He is in love.
And in love with being in love.
Absolutely. Is he in love with Lindsay?
But is it real? Is it a fantasy?
I would say it is a fantasy because none of these aspects are also congruent.
Isn't also Neptune like all about delusion?
It's all delusion, but all these aspects are not present in his synastry with her. Which that often pops up, at least one. And that's the catalyst for the transit. So it's a hard sell for me.
The two of them.
It is. And I don't make a lot of blanket statements, even because I do a lot of like, If these two people came into me and they wanted a reading, they're like, "Are we going to be together forever?"
You'd be like, "No, goodbye."
I would say it's going to be really hard to keep the romance alive that you're experiencing for the 5 years.
But you can.
Of
you
course,
just have to work.
It's going to be
Right now. You don't have to work.
Right. There's
right now,
no
you don't
work.
have to work. Every day you're kissing and there's a firework in the background for some reason.
Absolutely.
Every day, right.
Absolutely.
The birds are singing when you wake up.
Carl is in love.
Yeah.
And he has enough love
Lindsay
and
can do
power.
no wrong.
Yep. No wrong. To sustain the relationship, it is going to take a lot
Which means he could be torching some friendships.
Right.
Because a lot of people share our opinion. A lot of people in their friend group
are hesitant.
Share our hesitant opinion about the couple.
And now listen,
and they don't know anything about astrology, which is kind of interesting.
There is value in that. She's
100%.
very volatile. He's
delicate right now.
He's delicate. He's vulnerable.
He's fragile.
And so everyone's like, these two together, this is a recipe for a disaster. I can see where that goes. I don't have the exact time with Lindsay, but I think, unless this was wrongly recorded online, that she would be experiencing her Pluto square ascendant, which means squaring her descendant.
I am going through that.
You're going through that, you crazy mofo.
I'm very even-tempered these days. I'm on a lot of antidepressants.
This is the commercial for Latuda. No. So she started this in 2020, which is literally a year before. This is when they were in quarantine, and this is maybe being ramped up, or it's like slowing down with her and Steven, who she was dating. And
the one that didn't make her a sandwich?
Yep.
I honestly, to her credit, I would break up with someone immediately if they would refuse to make me a sandwich.
Jamie's never made me a sandwich my whole life.
Well, and I'm not dating Jamie, so I would have broken up with him. Sorry, Jamie.
He's never made me a sandwich. He's never
All
made
I
me...
want is a sandwich, and they won't make it. Get the fuck out of here. I would have had the exact tantrum that she had.
I know. I agree.
That sandwich.
There are some things that I say to
Just take
Jamie.
two
I was like,
pieces of
this.
bread,
I was like, this
put
is
a
that.
piece of turkey
right.
in
I was
it,
like,
and a
you
piece of
tell me.
cheese.
I know.
Done.
I was like, I don't even.
Doesn't have to be a good sandwich. Just make it.
Right. There's a hard line for anything. That hard line for her was the sandwich.
I relate. We have Aries ascendant.
We're
going through the same transit. But also, I just like a sandwich. And when I want a sandwich, I want a sandwich.
Literally, you're
now.
both going through the same transit, the same rising. Pluto is squaring you the same way. I have to pee because I'm going to piss my pants, but I'm just getting overwhelmed by you talking about the sandwich.
You want me to take a pee break?
Yeah. That is funny, though. Ooh, hello.
I'm also going through a Pluto trine Sun transit.
And Pluto is in your 11th house of social media.
Wow, I'm very good at it. Naturally.
Of course we are. Okay, back to transits. I gotta tell you. Carl's transits. God, they are...
Loverboy, which is funny because that's the name of his alcohol company. Loverboy. He is just a lover boy right now.
He is in love. It started in 2020, and it is strong until 2025. He's been, yeah.
He got fired from it, I think.
And I will say his transits, the first time that him and Lindsay tried to date, Pluto was squaring his moon. Uranus was squaring his sun. It was opposing his Pluto. He was
Not
tortured.
a time for them to date.
Not a time.
Not a time for him to date anyone.
Interestingly enough, Lindsay, Uranus was opposing her moon, which I call literally, you're insane. Well, that's the transit that you're insane. We have
She is that on a given day.
I gotta
and
tell
so when
you,
you compound that,
I've gone through that transit. I was crazy. I'm sorry, I'm putting you on blast. You went through that transit too. You are crazy.
You didn't need to say the last name.
Okay, then you can cut it
What
out.
does that have to do with? But was that?
She went through that transit.
When did I go through it?
You haven't. I did. I
haven't
went
gone through it yet.
Uranus square opposing your moon. I went through it.
I've already
I was
been
insane.
Crazy. I can't be crazier.
Well,
please.
wait until Uranus
Right,
opposes or squares your moon.
Well, you buckle up because
I don't got much more in my tank, okay? But I also went through it, and I was like, oh, I'm crazy.
like you actually. So a lot of people like.
I felt crazy.
So a lot of people like I would say like when I like right now going through Saturn in my 12th house or whatever, I don't feel like I'm
You should feel tired.
right. But what I'm saying is I think other people feel it maybe from me. Like maybe I'm treating them differently. I'm kind of fine, but I'm like treating them differently.
Yeah, because you're
like,
tired.
They're being affected more than me. Whereas this is you're gonna feel crazy. Like you yourself will feel crazy, or everyone will just think you're crazy.
Well, I guess honestly, when I went through Uranus opposing, I was opposing my moon. I had, or was it squaring? All I know, I had just gotten off of Uranus opposing my Venus. So then it hit my Venus for 2.5 years, and then it hit my moon. And I'll tell
Bad
you,
in emotions.
I was single. I could
Were you
not
having
go.
fun?
Fun is a relative term during that time. I was going on
You were in
dates.
Chicago?
No, I had just got off my Saturn return, and I was like, I'm cool. I'm ready to date. I'm excited. I'm young. I'm happy. And it just was like a plane going off every time, and just
Going up but forgetting to fill up the tank.
and just going down. It was just it was destruction.
Can't wait.
This is happening to Lindsay, which you can see her very like here is what represents those transits. When Uranus touches your Venus or your moon, it's very erratic. So during this time for her, Uranus was opposing her moon. It was opposing her Pluto. Neptune was squaring her Uranus and her Chiron. Chiron is opposite her Venus. This is 2019. She's just...
When she detonated on Carl.
Yeah, but also she's dating, she's dating Carl 1 minute, and then she's dating Steven. Mm-hmm. Like, it's very like a flip of the switch.
Broke up with him because he didn't make a sandwich.
Right. She's just... she's like a live wire.
Has she been going through all these things since she's been on the show? Because was she ever chill? I will say, actually, in 2019, the most chill I ever saw her was when she was...
With Steven.
No, when she was trying to navigate the Hannah-Luke situation, but turns out she was actually just trying to manipulate the situation to get a friend.
She also has no stake in the game.
Right, but I will say, like, what she was saying about it was the most sense. Like, if they want to fuck, let them fuck. Who cares? Literally, who cares?
But she doesn't care
that's
about
not how
it.
she. But that's not how she is. That's not who she is.
Right. That's she is a narcissist. She only cares about herself.
Okay.
And but in her in this form in this time, she is grappling with that part of her personality that is very like Uranus is going at her moon, that is being too self-involved, being too secretive. Like she's going down the gauntlet. Like it's kind of pitying her. And also she had the thing with Paige of being like too secretive, omitting. Like omitting.
Hate
she is learning she's learning about her moon and like what she can and cannot get away with.
So she can come back stronger and know
right,
what
and
she can get away with.
But honestly, she did. And she came back stronger, and she's engaged to Carl, and she's in a great relationship. But, like, she was put through the gauntlet, and everybody is. Like, I was, you have been, we've all been put through, like, the test.
You are tested throughout your life. You're explaining it through the lens of astrology.
Right. She is strong now with Carl. But it's because she went through a lot of like very frenetic, like hard transits.
Yeah.
Starting, this is mostly 2019, 20, 2021. But then she has started to turn a corner, but mostly brought on or being pulled through with Carl's being in love.
Yeah.
God, to be a man who's going through Pluto sextile Venus, sextile Mars, Neptune conjunct Venus.
All at the same time.
Oh, God. Sounds great.
You get anyone you want. You can do anything you want.
Right. She can poop on a plate, and he's like,
I
I
love
love it.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay.
He thinks it's a cloud.
Right.
He thinks it's a...
And she's like, I can do no wrong. But when the transit lifts, they're going to have to deal with some of their synastry aspects.
That the cameras are there. Because I want to watch that show. I don't care about the show where they're in love and it's fun and everyone's getting along.
Neither does the rest of the cast.
Neither does the rest of America. Like,
right.
No one wants to watch that show.
Right.
All we want to watch is destruction and fighting.
Is destruction.
And imagine if all those people just got along in that house all summer long. Cool.
Well,
cool
it
story.
would be canceled. It'd be canceled.
Correct. There's no drama, no strife. No. I want the cameras rolling the minute that transit's over. We got to call
But you
Andy.
know what? That
Andy
also,
Cohen.
as I'm sitting here, I have like a little bit of an empathetic heart. Like, for Lindsay, if Carl's all of a sudden like really just embracing her wildness, she's been really badly behaved for many years, and then he all of a sudden is like, I'm fucking done with your shit. That is going to set her into a tailspin, because he has been with Neptune conjuncting the Venus and conjuncting the Mars. He has, every time she's gone too far, he has been very compassionate. He has been very loving.
And one day he won't be.
And he won't be. This is a fact. But this is a fact. Like, this will be a fact. He is the most compassionate he's ever going to be in his lifetime right now.
Right. And it's like, we talk about it a lot, not even in astrological terms, but it makes sense in astrological terms, is you can put up with stuff, and you can put up with it, and one day, you just can't. And one day, something switches, and you don't really know what it is or why. You know, like we were talking just last night, we were at dinner with someone, we were talking about, well, we don't keep score.
No.
When, I don't keep score when someone does me wrong. I don't. I remember it just because I do have a good memory, but I don't keep score, and I absolutely not. But there is a time, and so like you can wrong me once, you can wrong me twice, doing the same thing 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, all doing the same thing, and I'll take each one individually. Okay,
me too.
It's an individual
100% me too.
circumstance. But then one day, I wake up, and you wrong me the 10th time.
That's same for me.
And I don't look at it individually anymore. I
Same.
then start looking at it as this story
Same.
that I don't like.
Same.
And that's when it's over for me. Like, our relationship will never be the same.
Same. I can't do it anymore.
No. Like, goodbye. Don't call. Don't write.
And that's happened to probably every single of my previous relationships, is that like, but I had an immaturity that I was like, I was not also sane when I was upset. Sure. I don't have that now, but I
still pop off like Lindsay every now
See,
and then.
I expected people to read my mind. And then when he didn't, I was like, that's your fault. And I'm going to go wild. But now I'll be
that's
like,
an early 20s game.
Yeah, that's a young person's game.
Right.
Or for young people that want to live young forever, good luck to you.
Yeah, Peter Pan syndrome. That is a young person's game.
Correct.
Yep.
For me,
we live in the real.
I will be like, okay, I'll take it on the chin. I'll take it on the chin. I'll take it on the chin. But like, you have to know that you're breaking me down a little bit. And like, if I keep telling you, I'm like, I don't love that.
I mean, I've actually seen it with you with one of our mutual friends. We're like, you'll take it, you'll take it, you'll take it. And the one time you don't,
I look at him like, I'm like,
done.
I am done.
And I think you and I do have a very high capacity for forgiveness.
Yes.
But if you do it to me once,
yes.
Okay. You do it to me twice. Oh, by the way, you have to do when you do me wrong is say sorry.
Right. You can probably do it like 8 or 9 times
right.
with me
Actually,
too.
You could probably do it for the rest of your life as long as you say sorry after.
Right.
I'll be like, okay. But like, if you just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, like, there is a time, and maybe we have a higher threshold for it. But some people, you do it once, done.
It's like my mom. Bye.
I would say.
Jackie's like, bye.
Mom, but we have a friend in common as well who, if you do him wrong once, you're done.
Right.
You're off. And like, for some reason, you're out of the community in Portland. Like, you're out.
And that's hard. That's hard because we all fuck up. We all make mistakes. So that when I can talk myself out of.
I make a mistake every time.
Me too.
Minimum.
I pop off. I'm shut down. I don't text message back. I don't do these things. But like, I want a long leash because I'm going to give you a long leash. But if all of a sudden I feel like I've given you this leash, I've given you the leash,
and now you're just hanging yourself with it,
right? And
you're
playing with me. You're playing with me. I'm like on the leash, and you're just like, wah. I'm like
those retractable leashes.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's
wah,
like
I'm like, oh my God. I was like, all of a sudden, I'm a fucking idiot. Okay.
Right. Don't make a fool out of me.
Don't make a fool out of me. And
don't make a fool.
And I think that's what will be the crux with Carl and Lindsay, is that he will have eaten a lot of shit on her behalf with her anger problems.
And he's probably going to lose, I would imagine, during this
majority
love bubble,
of the friends.
Some friends. He's already, it's pretty acrimonious.
Yep.
With a lot of their friend group because of the relationship. And he doesn't really seem to care. He seems to try to patch. He's already tried to patch.
Because in Aquarius.
Right.
He will.
Right. But I think this just proves your point, right? Where it's like right now, when you're in that love bubble and you can be insular with your partner and there's nothing outside of that love bubble, right? But one day, that love bubble is going to burst. And that's not a bad thing. If you're in a really good relationship, who cares if it bursts?
Well, here's...
Right?
Well, I agree and to parlay, like, interesting, that's the opposition in the chart. She loves to be in love, the romance,
and
the drama.
He currently loves to be in love, but he does not naturally love to be in love.
Naturally, he is the Aquarian. And I've dated Aquarians before. They're on, they're on the volleyball team. They all day. Like they love to. They love to do like group sports all day long. And I'm like, what are we doing? I'm like, what about take me out to dinner? They're like, oh no, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to hang out and do this. And I have like, it's like I have a teenage son that's in sports all day long. They thrive being with their friends, but I'm like, but what about me all day long? I was like, do you want me to bring, what about me? I'm like, I was supposed to bring Gatorade to your like volleyball game and you're almost 40. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to shoot myself in the brain. Yeah. I will not do it because I am an adult and I don't play games.
You have an identity is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. I love that. I love, if you love to play sports, great.
We actually have a couple, a friend who's a couple.
Full House is like, cut it out. Cut it out. But that's
Stephanie Tanner, a drug addict. So that's not.
I had a lot of cut it out moments this moment. I will say,
you had a what?
Cut it out moments in this podcast.
like every episode.
I have to just say that
You can pay for the uncut version. It just means he's not Jewish.
I have to tell you that Carl is an Aquarian. He loves to be part of the group. He loves to have a lot of friends. I know that Lindsay is the Leo. She does okay, this is a weird thing. I have dated back to back. I'm sorry. I'm putting my relationships on blast right now. I dated a Leo, and then I dated an Aquarius rising, and then I dated a Leo. Ooh. And I'll tell you, both of the Leos that I dated are very happy in a relationship. They're like, let's go on dates, let's hang out. They love to be in love.
Our Leo friend is very happy in this relationship.
They love all the things that are relationship oriented, and it feels so good. And there's it's easy. And then I dated an Aquarius rising, and he's just like, I want to be a young boy. And I'm just like, oh. I was like, wait. It's a very hard sell to me because I just didn't understand. I was like, wait. I was like, are we dating? Are we not dating? And I think that Lindsay and Carl are going to have this problem. It's it's the Leo versus, it's the friend versus being in love.
Right.
Like Leos love to be in love because they understand the power of being in love though too. Because when you're in love, two people can make more money together than one person. Like they can have it's
sure.
a power couple.
Yeah,
you're a power couple.
A true partnership.
Yes. It's two versus
and I know you love
one.
the double income.
Who doesn't love a double income?
I know you love a double income.
I mean, who doesn't? Do I want to live on my sandwich? Or do I want to live on two sandwiches? I'll tell you, I want a 2 sandwich income.
I get full after one sandwich. So
I want 2.
Actually, today we just had a half a sandwich.
That's true. I want someone who loves to be in love.
Right. So what's so funny is I relate so more. So we looked up who we related to more between us and Lindsay and Carl.
Yeah, we
and whatever.
looked.
And
yeah.
I apparently related to Lindsay the most. But
yeah.
What's interesting is I actually don't relate to Leos that much. I do relate to Aquarians because my mother's an Aquarius. My niece June is an Aquarius.
Hey June.
My nephew Asher's an Aquarius.
June is all I care
cousin
about.
Emily is
June's
an
so
Aquarius.
cute. You're gonna die when you see photos of June.
Like all of the females in my family and Asher
don't give a fuck.
Aquarians. And yeah, they don't
Listen
give a fuck.
to me. I'm gonna call
They
bullshit
don't.
on this 100%. You are a lover to your core.
I guess I have a Venus in Leo.
Yeah, you are a lover to your core. You're undercover. Nobody knows this except for very few people, myself included. You are.
And now our 3 listeners.
Right. You are the nicest, sweetest, most loving.
But I do, yes and no. I know that I have that.
To be loved by you is a gift. I believe that.
But it
It's true.
does come
With a cost.
A sharp tongue.
All
and
right.
some criticism. And some.
Okay, well, you know, nothing's for free. Nothing's for free,
and I
okay?
told you so.
Nothing's for free.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
A lot of, all right. A lot of that.
But you are a lover undercover, and I think so is Lindsay is a lover. She wants to be in love.
It's like we're lovers and fighters.
Lindsay is a true lover.
Yeah.
With the water sign moon, the Leo sun, the passionate Aries. She wants the love story. And
Right.
she can also deliver and keep it alive, because a lot of people actually can keep the love alive.
Right. I actually don't think I'm a lover in the sense that you're saying. I want like an unattainable movie Hollywood love. I want you outside my window on a rainy day with a boombox.
Everybody wants that.
No, not everyone does. Some people don't give a shit about that. But that's what I want. I want you to make a huge declaration, and then I can be like,
Venus
yes or
and
no.
Leo. Venus and Leo. You want the
Right.
you want the
But
drama.
I don't need.
You want
I
the
want
movie.
I want the theatrics of it.
Okay, because you have a Venus in Leo. They
But I
want
wouldn't
the
say I'm
cinematic.
in love with love. Like,
Oh, I'm in love with
I
love.
don't need to be in a relationship. I'm equally happy in one and out of one.
I have a Venus in Libra, and I am in love with love.
Right.
Oh, I love it.
I know.
I love it.
You do.
When I'm in a relationship and I see that person's face, I'm just like, I just love it. I'm like, I love them. I love everything they do. I love everything that they own. I love their little
It
shoes.
was literally just a sandwich delivery in this building. I was hoping it was sauce. Sorry to cut you off.
I was talking about my lover's shoes. I love shoes. I love Blake. I love everything that they touch. I
you
love
love
everything
Blake?
they do. What?
Did you say you love blanket?
I love blanket. if Jamie owned this blanket, I was like, oh my God, this is Jamie's blanket. I love the person that I'm in love with, and I'm obsessed with them. I love them.
Yeah.
And it's real for me. I don't know if it's real in life, but in my mind, it is real in my mind.
I get it. I don't reach that. I haven't, I guess, reached that level. We're like,
Probably healthy.
maybe, but like, I need you to do something very dramatic to prove your love to me, but like just one time.
Oh, really?
And then after that,
Nothing
we
for
can
me.
just sit on the
Nothing for
couch and
me.
eat Cheetos. Like, I don't. If you own a sweatshirt, I don't need it. If you own this, I'm not smelling it when I go to bed. Like, I don't.
Oh.
I know. Like, I'm
Not
not
me.
obsessed with you in that sense. I'll be devoted to you, no question. But
Right.
like, I'm not obsessed. I'm not like, cutting a locket of your hair and putting it in a jar.
And I think that's probably what people need to look at if they're really looking at their relationships, is probably to look at their Venus, more so their moon, but secondary as much their Venus.
Right. Our moons are pretty cold. But our Venuses kind of make up for it.
Yeah, I do not. I think if you had a poll of all of my ex-boyfriends, sorry, Jamie, all of them would be like, I'm not very nice. I'm cold. I'm mean. I'm insensitive to all of them.
Yeah.
But I'm like in love with the idea of being in love with them. But it's really not that. It's that I really genuinely do not get caught up in like the messier emotions. That's how I interpret it. I'm like, there's bad things going on day to day, and I just like, I could pick it up, or I could put it down,
Right.
and I choose to put it down. Not
You're
even
a
put it
bigger
down.
you're
I'm
a
like,
big
I'm
picture.
gonna. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna.
That's where we are similar, actually, because I'm big picture. Like, because I can have a fight with you, and like my feelings for you don't change even
No.
1 second. Like, you and I, famously, I guess, amongst our friends, had one fight.
We
between
fight,
us,
yeah, for sure.
But like one major fight between us, and it
Yeah.
was in front of some of our
All of
friends.
our friends. Okay.
And while we were fighting, we literally got bored in the middle of it. But
Yeah, I was like, I'm done.
And I was like, okay, we're like, this is done.
And I walked
We're
over. I
done.
was like, hey, can we stop fighting about this? And you're like,
You're
yeah.
yeah, we're done. But like, even when I was maybe screaming at you or you were screaming at me, like my feelings for you did not change even 1 second.
No.
But some people's do. Like,
because that's the emotion.
Right,
You and I are just Mars.
those
We're
are
going Mars versus
water,
Mars.
But those
and that,
water signs, it's like, oh, you looked at me incorrectly today.
you've never said anything below the belt, though, to me.
No.
And if you said something below the belt, I'd be
It's
like,
a different story.
you're.
I mean, it's the same with you. You've never done that to me.
I know things I could say below the belt. I would
sure.
never say it. You would not.
You and I fight. We don't fight dirty. And I'll fight with anyone. I will not fight dirty.
I have to say
I
that
will
I
not
would
fight
think
dirty.
that Lindsay,
She'll fight dirty.
she'll fight dirty.
And
Because
I like to watch
Moon,
it. But I'm not going to do it.
You and I, because our moons are in detriment or they're just at the lowest vibration. It's like the lowest vibration.
Boop, boop.
Boop, boop. We're like not super emotional.
Which is weird. What's so weird is...
But I'm still emotional though. I'm not like catatonic.
Right. And like what we were talking about earlier is like in like synastry. So like when you're comparing your chart to someone else's chart and seeing how they interact, you could be unemotional and with every single other person on the planet. But that one person comes along
and fucks
and
with you.
You can't be unemotional. And like I have a friend who really brings that out in me, where it's like if he were to walk in today and I'm saying I'm unemotional, he'd be like, "What? Like, are you a psychopath?" And it's like, no, just you bring out this one thing in me.
Right. And
Whereas
I mean,
no, with everyone else, I can be just so pragmatic and unemotional and detached even. And like,
right. No, and I think that like, I mean, I'm sure that I can't speak for Jamie, but Jamie would say sometimes I'm like super emotional, but like I know even if he's going to tell me I'm super emotional, I can honor that he thinks in that moment I'm a bit too much. Yeah. But I know myself enough to know that I'm not super emotional because I know super emotional women. And we are not the same. Like I know myself fully and like not even like it's not fully because I feel like fully is to have like relationships that you can like kind of like fetter that out and like they by being friends with somebody you learn about yourself. So of course I'm not going to be so egotistical and so I'm like I know everything, I'm so perfect. Course, yeah. But like I can always learn more about myself, but I know some of my core yes. Mannerisms or go-tos or whatever they are, and I know, and
you can know yourself and still learn about yourself at the same time,
right?
And
yeah.
I understand
okay.
that.
Okay.
And I honor that.
Okay. Thanks. So I still have
because I feel the same way.
Right.
Myself.
I'm like I can learn more, but I'm like I know I'm not super emotional, but I know sometimes I can be overly emotional, but I'm not trying to like kind of. It's just like a self-awareness. I'm not trying to...
Right. I mean, it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, if someone, like, knowing yourself, but still being open to learning about yourself. But it is powerful. It's like, because if someone's like, you always react this way in circumstances, and you're like, no, I don't. And
right. I'm like...
because you don't.
Right. Okay.
But because, like, one time you did... And they're like, you always do this, but you can go home saying, well,
like,
I know
I don't.
Yes, that one time I did because I was probably drinking or like maybe whatever.
I was upset. I was in my period.
Upset.
I was like, you know, I had a really rough week.
You're right. That one day I did it.
I popped off.
But like
right.
out of 100 times this
I can back down.
I've done it once. Right? But generally people judge you on your weaker moments.
Yes.
Not on your...
People do judge you.
They judge you on your mistakes.
That's a really great statement.
They judge you on your weaker moments.
People judge you on your weaker moments.
Right. You are not your weaker moments. You are...
It's a great statement.
All of a sudden became like a self-help podcast.
No, but it's true. Like, I know... Like, right. My mother is the opposite moon sign as I am. And she's very emotional. So if you want to meet someone who's very emotional, just like...
Come to Shay's on Monday nights.
Right. That's my mother. It's like she's feeling this way. She's feeling that way. She's like... she's a bleeding heart. She's talking about things that you shouldn't be talking about with people. She doesn't understand boundaries. Right. She's... but that's how she is, and I'm very like so if you're thinking I'm super emotional, I'm a little bit more closed off in comparison to her, but that is the spectrum.
Right.
My mother, me.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what we're gonna see, because Carl and Lindsay are opposite signs. Carl, the friend, Lindsay, the romantic. And it seems like you're like, well, what does that really mean?
Which is so funny because if you're watching the show today, you would think Carl's a romantic and Lindsay is not. But
that's because of his transits.
Yeah, no, right. No, exactly. Like to bring it home.
Carl wants... I mean, he's part of the company. Like, Loverboy is like literally, I don't know.
He doesn't even work there anymore.
Well, okay, but that worked well for him though. That friendship group, it works well for him
Yes.
I
mean, that particular situation.
It's a brotherhood.
Didn't work for him, right? Because he was drinking too much
right.
and showing up to work drunk. But like, if he was the way he is now, he would have killed it at that job.
Actually, that's a great point.
And
if he was sober during all of Loverboy,
which is also hard to do when you're peddling an alcohol brand, but
right. I mean, really, like
because
let's call
also
a spade a
most
spade.
of his things I think were like PR appearances, and it's like everyone wants to party with Carl because his whole personality is party Carl.
Yeah.
And you're trying to sell.
The whole brand
you're trying to sell an alcohol brand.
Yeah. Like
but,
the ultimate party boy, like he's on television for it. It's
right.
like it's very.
Exactly. But he would have done better if he did it today.
Oh my goodness! Yes.
Speaking of which, Kyle Cook, if you're still listening,
Carl.
No, Kyle.
No, I was about to be like,
Carl.
I don't want you to be on the podcast because I think you're a liability. I think that he.
What?
Sorry.
Wait, what?
I think that he might be a
on this book here.
Oh, I mean, yes. I mean, he might be a liability right now because he's going under a transit. He's like, it would literally
he's so lovable.
No, he come in here and tell us that he's in
Carl?
love with Carl, but he's in love with Lindsay, and they're like going to run off into the sunset. Well, run off into the sunset together, and then a year later he'd come back. Literally, he'll come back a year later when they're divorced, and he'll be like, "I'm sorry, guys," and I'm like, "Okay, like I don't like, hey, like that's."
What was it that Judge Judy said? You're not a reliable historian.
That's
so
my favorite.
Right now,
right?
Carl
cannot
a reliable
be.
Historian.
Right? He'll be like,
I
no.
understand that.
Right?
Everything is. He's in a cloud. He's
in a
rose-colored.
cloud.
Right? Which is great. I want to be in that
cloud.
cloud.
He'll come in here and he'll like blow this podcast up,
No,
and then a year later he'll be
come
like,
back.
he's like, sorry guys.
You were right.
Right.
And you'll get hard because that's like the only thing that like really turns you on is being told you're right.
Right, he can't come here when he's in a cloud. Bye.
What I was saying is I want Kyle to come on, and you want Kyle to come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Carl.
And to peddle Loverboy.
We love
Loverboy.
Love that.
And we love Kyle. We love Neon and Mullets. And AB. Or not aviators, but whatever those things are.
I think that we're all in northern New Hampshire, southern Maine. That's where he's from.
So we're basically from the same place. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So we're neighbors. And so
we're
just
neighbors.
be neighborly and come over. And
right? Just hang out.
Buy a crystal.
We can talk shit about
everyone you want to talk shit about.
Carl and Lindsay. Or we can support them, whatever makes
Whatever
you feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
We'll say whatever you want.
Right. I know it's hard. Can't always make it right.
Yeah.
It's a volatile topic.
What was the the Carl and Lindsay?
And then also all being in business together, and then maybe like having them come and I don't even know what the state of the relationship is right now, so we can't really.
Of who? Carl and Kyle?
Yeah. I don't think he's that lover boy. I think Kyle.
No, Carl's definitely not a lover boy. They don't. Oh, that's the other thing, by the way. We didn't even talk about this. I think they came to a mutual understanding that he cannot work there. But so Carl doesn't work. Lindsay doesn't work anymore. But they live in a $13,000 a month apartment in New York. And I would say Paige always knows what's up.
I love that about Paige.
Like when they got engaged, Paige has like the best line. She's like, "No, a bitch wears shoulder pads to the beach unless she knows she's getting her photo taken."
I do love Paige.
And true. She also said, "You can't pay $13,000 a month.
Especially like you both don't work.
If you don't work, this can't be your only job." Because I don't think the kids. Because I think Bravo considers, even though they're our age, they're almost in their 40s. They consider that Bravo considers these people kids. They don't pay them the way they pay Housewives.
Listen,
they don't pay them.
Since we're looking at their charts,
Yeah.
Moon square Sun, there is boop boop.
It's a bad one. It's a bad one.
It's a boop boop on the being able to come together and manage finances and money and a house together. Because
so it's
when
bad
squaring,
to be in business together.
Yes. Because it's not training. All their
their business is just appearances? Is that what they get?
God, I think so. And they're living in this
and
like
Instagram.
I know, and that's what Paige is saying. Paige is like, how do you pay your bills?
Right, but I'm trying to answer it. In Instagram
I don't. I think they
appearances.
pay it from.
I think Carl also. I think Carl has some money. Carl grew up with some money.
I don't think so. I think
Really?
that's why he's always struggled. Previously, he was like doing like dental marketing or sales. I was like, I don't even know what that even is, but I was like, God bless. But I think that they also
I just thought
make,
he liked teeth.
Listen. I think they make good money, at least $300,000 or less to be on.
If you make $300,000, you cannot afford a $13,000 a month apartment.
You can barely. You're doing
You're now
that.
paycheck to paycheck.
You're doing that.
And if you're making $300,000, you should not be paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
Like,
oof, that's rough.
You can't. I mean, yes, you can.
Shit,
but that means you can't eat. You're not going out, and all they do is eat and go out if you're not working.
$13,000 times. That's half. Okay, well, that's $156,000.
Your rent should never be half.
No, I never. I mean, mine.
By the way, if you're making $300,000, you do owe the IRS some of that. And
shit.
You're not. I'm telling you, if you make $100,000, you can't afford $1 million house. If you make $300,000, you can't afford a $13,000 mortgage.
A $13,000 mortgage. You are.
That's rent. I'm saying as rent.
You are making a lot. You are making, I would say, $500,000.
I mean, of course, we're Capricorns. So all we're talking about is money right now. But like,
I know. I was like,
you should spend no more than 25% of your check on rent.
Correct.
And
because
the house you have, your salary, the house you can afford is truly just 3 times your salary. That is the house that you can afford to maintain a lifestyle.
So what's that?
It's not a lot. Right.
Well, yeah, no, they're like 3 times. They're like almost 4 times out of it. Like
right.
they're out. They're
right.
They're out.
But I'm saying like that's to maintain like you want to go out to dinner every night. You want nothing to change
buy
in
clothes,
your life. Right. You want nothing to change in your life, but also own a home. You cannot spend more than 3 times.
Oh my God, $13,000 a month on income when you okay.
And by the way,
so
I don't even think they make $300,000 on that show.
Well,
I'm looking it up right now.
I thought that maybe that was they're living a fantasy right now.
Led by Captain Carl.
It says transits though.
Right.
I swear to God, because he wants to be in love.
What's his name?
Carl Radke. I do find it.
How many episodes are there?
I mean, I don't know.
Let's say 20 most. At most. It's not a housewife. All right, ready?
Maybe they're making $100,000 a year. If they're making, oh my God, if they're making $100,000 a year,
you
they can't even
live in
cover
Manhattan.
But the 2 of them, they're making $200,000 a year. That's like, but what else are they bringing in on income? All I know is they're not
making $140,000.
They're not. I'm making $140,000 per, so they're making
no, not per.
Together.
No, oh yeah, each. Yes, each, not per episode.
Okay, so
they could be making. Actually, I bet she's making 140. He's making 280, because they said the range is that he's been on it since day 1.
Okay, listen.
Even still,
listen to me, people. You cannot. We can cut it out. Listen to me. It's like it's out of this. It's called what is that one? Oh my God, I always think about.
No. We're listening to you. You say what you need to say. Right
medical
now.
People. It's from Overboard. It's like this line. Listen to me, medical people. It's like Goldie Hawn is like talking to the people, and they're like, "Listen to me. You cannot spend that much money on rent in Manhattan.
It's stupid.
No, I'm not talking about it being stupid. It is literally, you are a joke. And that is what Paige is saying. Like, if you want to torch that money, you could have taken all that money in fucking Fidelity. You could have taken that money in Fidelity. You could have fucking invested it. You could have lived in a shack in, I don't know, Iowa for $300 a month. You could have made that into, I don't know, a lot more money. But they're instead on a press junket. But that's what makes
they
it
have a
so
penthouse
great.
in Soho.
I'm like, go
with,
live in a room
with a terrace.
Right. Let this
Excuse
money
me?
grow.
You don't get a terrace.
Right. You go live in a basement.
You don't get a terrace. You don't. You are 35 years old, and
No
you
terrace for
cannot.
you.
You cannot afford a terrace.
You take that money, you invest it, you go live in
Do you
your
know how
parents'
much New York real
basement.
estate is? You do not. You don't get a terrace. I'm sorry. You don't. And by the way,
That's a truth.
you can maybe, yes, you can afford it. Can you afford to furnish it? No.
Oh God, they can never.
What do they have? Like
afford
a futon in
What's a futon?
in a mattress
There's like
on the floor?
one spoon. They're like, don't use it. Like,
Right, yeah.
Right. Don't be so vigorous with it.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
okay, I know.
It's your turn with the spoon.
Like, this is the one towel we have. Because what you need to know is that if you have a
This
condo.
is all about keeping up with the Joneses. This is all actually goes back to what we were talking about earlier in a couple episodes ago. This is the whole thing about like reality TV and the Bravo world, Bravo celebrities, whatever they're called, is keeping up with the Joneses. It doesn't matter if you can't afford it. It just matters that you're seen with it. Right? And so, like, you have Kim, whatever her name is, in Atlanta.
Zolciak.
She cannot afford a $3 million house. She does not work. Her husband does not play for the NFL anymore.
Any longer.
They cannot afford her house.
It's
And
in
yet she's buying $30,000
right?
wigs. She's selling purses on Instagram stories. Like, you can't afford it, but she needs to give us the illusion, because we want the illusion, that she has all this money.
You know what it is. I'm
I
gonna
want
tell
the
you what. I'm
illusion.
gonna tell you what it is. I'm looking at the camera right now. I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Yeah.
It is when. I'm gonna look at you now. It is when you buy into yourself.
Sure. I will say
That is. You can leave. It's all paths. Go back to if you literally think that you deserve that house, you deserve that salary, you are worth this, and you.
What's so funny is you're saying buy into yourself instead of invest into yourself, which is what you should do.
But they can't invest in themselves.
No, I know. But, like, there's a difference between... Yeah, no, I think you're totally right.
Buy into that
I will tell you this.
illusion.
I got a text message from our friend Tanner this morning.
What does he say? Love you, Tanner.
He mentioned something about something that was going on with one of the cast members from Real Housewives of New York.
Love you, Tanner.
And I said, you know what? My hot take is I don't like any of them because none of them are rich. And so as a viewer, I want everyone to be Lisa Vanderpump. I want everyone to be Bethany. You're supposed to be a socialite in Manhattan. You're supposed to be the younger crop of socialites. We're supposed to be the Hamptons.
A peak.
You're supposed to
the veil is lifted. We're looking
so
in.
Carl buys into that, so I can buy. Carl and Lindsay are buying into that, so I can buy into that. So
which is crazy because we're the exact same age, and
correct.
There's no buy-in. There's no buy-in.
You know what I'm saying? As a viewer,
yes.
As an entertainer versus a viewer, I expect him to have the house that he has actually in New York.
I'm gonna 100% say that Carl and I have the exact same wealth right now.
Yeah, probably yes. Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A business owner, he and I can go toe to toe. Lindsay, I don't even know right now because Lindsay, I don't know what her PR company.
Carl's not a business owner.
Okay, so maybe I'll go toe to toe with both of these bitches. Like, hey, and I have nothing, but I'm gonna tell you, they have nothing too.
It's all show and no go. It's
correct.
But
I'm working every day. They're working every day, but they're trying to tell me that they have more than I have, so that we're all in adulation to them.
Right. they're supposed to be aspirational. Just like I want the New York Housewives to be aspirational.
Correct.
You're worth $1 million? Get the fuck
Fuck
off
out.
the TV.
Get out of here.
I don't want to talk to you. If you're worth
Right.
$30 million, we can talk.
I'm like, I'm
We can-
interested.
yeah,
I'm
just
interested. I was like, all
okay.
right.
Like, what are you doing today?
I know.
Like,
When the Hilton sisters aren't, I was like, okay,
yeah,
I don't know.
Kathy Hilton, I'm always listening to you. But when, you know.
Carl and Lindsay Hubbard are on, I'm like, I don't
I
know.
like how you just said, like, basically his name is Hubbard, too.
They're one the
Because
same.
kind of. That's how it's going to
Sorry, Carl.
be. But, like,
You made the deal with the devil.
no, but you see what. We see what we're saying because we
Of course we
obviously
do.
agree about money the exact same way.
But this is
if you can't afford it, don't buy it.
This is
And-
dollars and cents.
Right. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. And wow, but this is the symbiotic, gross relationship between the viewer and people on Bravo.
The buy-in for the
I
viewer. The
need
buy-in
you
for the
to be-
viewer.
to have more money than me.
So what does
And I need
Andy
you.
Cohen really believe about this sometimes when
Right.
he really looks at Summer House? Like, he
I think
might
they
need...
often refer to these people as the kids. They're not, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're almost 40. If someone's calling me a kid outside of my parents,
I know. I've seen some
I will
of the comments.
fucking
I've seen
torch you.
I've seen
Like,
some
I
comments
will-
being like, you're almost 40. Why are you renting a house in the Hamptons? Like, if you were anybody, you would
Oh, right.
own a house
I
in
mean,
the
I
Hamptons.
do like, but I will say, I like the premise of the show. I bet Kyle and Amanda, if they wanted to, could get a house on their own.
I do not care about
yeah.
the house in the Hamptons
Right.
that Kyle or Amanda or anyone else could
Right.
rent. I am
like it to
fully
get- yeah.
invested.
I'm
I
invested
don't
in-
know
in
why.
the premise of the show.
I'm invested in Kyle and Amanda's world because it's essentially what it is. And I mean, they're pretty good at making a business and making a show. And
I mean, he's excellent at making a business.
yeah.
Because he was the
I'm
original
there.
guy at Birdsong, those shorts with the thing and the thing.
Sign me up. I'm there. They're both Leos. They're both very creative. They're both
very pretty.
They're very pretty.
Very short, but very pretty. So I can get down with that. like you are my people. You're short.
But I look at Lindsay, who is also a Leo, but she's a little tortured. She's just been tortured.
But
I think
Where
maybe
did they all come from? Because I think Kyle. I mean, I know Kyle grew up fairly privileged. He's summering out Lake Winnipesaukee. He's skiing at Vermont. All this stuff.
he's so sweet
Amanda-
and approachable though.
No, what I'm saying is, so he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder.
Not at all. Kyle's
Lindsay
totally
has that
accessible.
chip, and I think it's because she, I'm not gonna say it. But
I
we're-
think
we're
Lindsay
thinking.
is, if she came and sat down right here and like she would go toe to toe with us. I feel.
Imagine, just putting Lindsay in Portland, Maine. Like, what would happen? No one would give a shit.
Oh, I didn't even think about that way.
No, like if she was, she is our age, and she's just in Portland. Like we know a lot of people here. She would not really be on my radar. I would not care. If Carl was here, I would care because he's just so pretty. But like, but you know what I'm saying? Like we have an expansive show. So you and I have an expansive social
And she
network
just wouldn't.
in this very small town. But like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. Like, yep.
Interesting.
What are you doing? You're at Amigos? Like, where are you going?
Interesting. Well, well, that's more of
Even
the
though
Leo.
apparently I would get along with Lindsay the best in
the
this entire
Leo
house,
of her. She doesn't give a fuck if you like her or not.
which I do respect.
I know
I do respect. That's why
Yeah.
that's why she's so hard for me, because there's so many things actually
She
I
doesn't give a
do
fuck.
like about her.
If you
That
don't
is one
like
of it.
her, fuck off.
Love it or list it. I love that quality.
I know.
Take it or leave. Like, this
I have
is who
to agree.
I am.
I have
love
to
that
agree. I
quality.
have to agree.
I
That is
have
her
it sometimes.
superpower.
Right.
If she says anything to me, and if she was like, love it or list it, I'm not going to change who I am.
Whatever she
and
says
I
to
looked
me,
at her,
I know that's what.
but I would be like, you're right. I'd be like,
I'd love it. So I guess we'd actually be best friends. And she'd be.
I do. I mean, she is completely irreverent. She is. I don't agree.
But she is cast as a villain of sorts, and I will say
Well,
this
because
again.
she
I
just
keep going
doesn't
back
give
to
a
this,
fuck.
and I don't like this, but her look is a villainous look. She's very good looking. Don't get me
God,
wrong.
she looks great.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
She goes
But-
to Barry's 4 times a week. I mean,
Oh
she's
my God, she's a
built.
knockout.
She's built.
But just her features are
She looks like she's gonna
villainous,
kill you.
but
She looks like
villainous. Right.
I would be scared of her.
right. So she could be this. She could be as sweet as honey.
She would walk in. I'd be like, I'm sorry. I didn't know I
I'd
did
just be
something
like,
wrong.
Do you want this or you just have it.
Right.
Like, you just
I think, do I owe
Just
you
like, yeah,
money?
just show
I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I'm
Just-
sorry.
Just don't cause a scene, please. Like,
Right, I was like, I just want to go home. I'm tired. Bye.
right.
And I think that's kind of how Carl is sometimes. Is he is just scared of her a little bit. I'm sorry, but also maybe that's what makes a good marriage.
Being scared of your partner. Your partner being unpredictable. I know.
If we file back, is that not sometimes the way people stay together out of fear?
Well, I mean, that's a whole other. That's an episode for Dr. Drill because, yeah, I think people do stay together out of fear, but out of fear of other things, fear of poverty, fear of breaking up
It's the
their
same.
kids'
Fear is fear.
heart, right? But you're not with someone, like, okay, maybe.
Correct.
I'm not gonna say correct. I'm gonna say maybe.
Okay. I can deal with that.
Because, yes, in every relationship, there is a fear that you won't be in the relationship. So that's
Someone
fear.
has a
That's
trump
given.
card.
That's
Someone has
given.
a trump card. Someone has
Yeah,
a
no relationship's
weird
50-50.
Yeah, or
No
it,
rela- no-
it goes back and forth. Someone has the power card in this situation, but they have the power card in that situation.
relationship is
So everyone's
50-50.
like, it's a weird dance.
Yeah.
I would say that Lindsay, the relationships that she has are predicated on her having the power card.
Yeah.
100%.
In all previous relationships.
Yeah.
And that's, again, to bring it full circle, that is the Sun and Saturn aspect. That is the Sun and Pluto aspect, where they're vying for control. So who's going to win? Time will tell.
Time will only tell.
Boo boo.